Hello everybody, I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian, and welcome to the National Capital Orchid Society show and sale here in 2025. We are at Homestead Gardens in Davidsonville, Virginia, and I'm going to show you all of the amazing plants that they have for sale and on display at the show this year. So with that, let's go check out what they have for sale in the show tent at the NCOS show and sale. All right here is Orchid Enterprise booth for the NCOS show. And boy, does he have a fantastic variety of orchids on display and for sale. These are all for sale. Check out these yellow mini cats. Of course, beautiful dendrobiums, fragrant oncidiums. Look at these here. Oh my gosh, they have so many beautiful plants. Ken from Orchid Enterprise always puts together a fantastic display with a really great variety of orchid blooms. The NCOS show happening September 19th through 21st, 2025 here at Homestead Gardens, world-renowned recognized garden center in Davidsonville, Virginia, right outside Washington, D.C. Just about 35 or 40 minutes from D.C. And if you're in the area and watching this video, definitely stop in Saturday, Sunday, or join us next year for this fantastic, fantastic show. Check this out. Oh my gosh, so nice. So many fragrant orchids to choose from. Dendrobiums, oncidiums, Cattleyas. We've got flares, we've got speckled spots, splotches, every color under the sun. Look at this. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Now, like I said, all of these plants are for sale, so you can pick up new orchids for your collection at the NCOS show. Now, there are 7 vendors this year, international and nationally acclaimed vendors. And we're going to take a look at all of the plants that they brought to the show. And the one thing I love about having a show in September is you're going to see so many different orchids in bloom and available that you don't see typically when a lot of the shows around here happen in the winter and early spring. So it's a great opportunity to populate your collection with plants that are going to bloom for you in the fall. Like I said, you're going to have a variety. If you grow in a greenhouse, there's folks with vandas. If you grow in a grow tent or a terrarium, folks who specialize in compact and miniature orchids. If you grow warm, if you grow cool, if you grow cold, check out this dendrochilum here. Wow. Those flowers are so neat, and they have a great honey-like fragrance too. Look at how tall those spikes dangle. Imagine several blooms at once. Holy cow. More Oncidium Alliance. And here's a wonderful little bulbophyllum over here. Let's see if I can get close enough to show you that. Look at that. I'm not going to be able to show all of the names here today. This would be a very long video if I showed you every single name. But I will show you the blooms that folks have brought. My gosh. So pretty. Wow. And here's more Mini Cattleyas. Look at this. I'm trying to move this to the side. Look at the size. Now this is a beautiful plant. There we go. Get a better view of the flower. That's amazing. As is this plant here. Really, really nice. Like I said, if you want to grow miniature Cattleyas, there is no shortage of these types of blooms. Of course, we have some dendrobium, some stuff in spike. So if you don't want something in bloom right now, you want to make sure you get as much time with your flowers as you can. And oh man, the fragrance in this vendor space is amazing. Wow. And look at the speckles on those flowers. Wow. More wonderful nobly dendrobiums. Here's another miniature Cattleya. That's amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And then check out this flower here. Wow. Oh man. If you love flared, compact Cattleyas. Oh man, look at this. Cattleya Mary's Love Taka. Beautiful. And these are wonderful spotted Cattleyas. Wonderful growers. I have a couple of these in my collection. They have several available for sale here at the show. Lots of flares. Look at this. How unique is that with the green and white flares on this Cattleya? That's very pretty. And he has several here. Some in bloom and in bud. Let's see, the name of this, BLC, Yen Corona Green Genie. How beautiful. And then of course up here, some more Oncidium Alliance, Brassia, even some Psychopsis. Wow. These are wonderful. Really, really nice. All right, as I said, here we are. Orchid Classics. Bringing some amazing Vandas. Wow-wee. Like I said, you will get a variety of orchid blooms at this show. From some that grow best in a greenhouse to those that you can grow in your home. Now over here we have some Cattleya hybrids. Look at these Cattleyas. Oh my gosh. Beautiful Cattleyas available here. Amazing Thailand, Miss Thailand. This is beautiful. Wow, with those yellow center, white outline on the flowers. Incredible. Peter always brings amazing stuff here. Look at this. Wow, that lip is crazy. Two beautiful flowers on that. I think that's Cattleya Dowiana. And then look at this behind here. Another cerulean colored Cattleya flower. Beautiful. And of course, Peter is known for his amazing Phalaenopsis. I mean, look at the size of these leaves. They're the size of my hand. That is amazing. This is Phalaenopsis silverleaf spot. That's amazing. We've got the Howard Jai Fantasy in bud. They have these red flowers. I know this is one of Cassidy's favorites. And check out this little Phalaenopsis bloom. He has tons of foul blooms on the other side we'll check out in just 1 minute, but wow, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then behind, check out those Vandas he's got on the hangers back there. Holy cow, I'm going to try to get a better view of that with my light. And of course, beautiful mini Phalaenopsis. Oh my gosh. Look at the colors. A sea of orchid blooms. Any and every color variety that you could want, you will find here at Orchid Classics. Wow. And these are $20, 2 for $35. What a deal. Oh man. Gorgeous, gorgeous plants. And they're all so healthy. And these Phalaenopsis, for those of you who might be new, these flowers can last for months. They're a very long-lasting orchid. And some of these even give them a sniff because they may be fragrant, especially over here, some of these novelty phals, which are specialty orchids. These are for $40 or 3 for $100, and they are fragrant. Look at that. Wow. This is amazing. Let's see if I can get the name here. There we go. Really nice. Oh man. And look at all these, very floriferous. Cerulean. Oh my gosh. So many beautiful orchid flowers. You can go crazy at this show here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on this Bellina pink. Wow, Cattleyas Vio cat face, which is a pyloric Phalaenopsis. I'm going to go over on the edge. Look at that. So cool. And again, look at all the blooms on this guy. These spikes are one flower. All of these blooms here you see from one plant. Like I said, tons of flowers, and many of which are fragrant. And now back here, hopefully the fan doesn't interrupt too much. Check this out here. If it does, I'll do a audio overlay, but beautiful blooms. Peter does such a great job with these Vandas. Oh my gosh, if you love Vandas, you are going to be in heaven. Oh my gosh, I could be in heaven. I wish I had a greenhouse. I wish I could grow all of these in my little grow tent. Need more space. But wow, every color you can imagine. Look at that purple. Oh my gosh. Really, really beautiful plants. Oh wow. These are Vanda orchids, known for their vibrant colored flowers. Look at the size and the cluster of blooms. That is amazing. Oh wow. And as you can see, this is Orchid Classics. All right, and right here are my buddies at Miranda Orchids, specializing in beautiful, beautiful orchids from the great country of Brazil. And look at the plants that Francisco brought this year. Holy cow. Cattleyas Rex. Laelia pumila vinicolor. Look at that. That's amazing. Laelia alliori. Of course, Miranda Orchids has some of my favorite rupiculus Laelias. Check out that Cattlea dormiana, semi-alba, the amethysta glossa, alba, even some ludemaniana, ludemaniana vinicolor, and Cattlea triani. Wow, Cattlea labiata, which I just bought a Cerulean labiata. And I have Cattlea intermedia too, which I love. And check it out, here's one of my favorites, little rupiculus Laelias. Look at those flowers. This is Laelia Kalnogi. There's a name here. Yeah, there it is. Let's see, Laelia Kalnogi. Beautiful flower. And then Cattlea tenui and Leopoldii. Oh my gosh, here's Laelia cinnabarina. And Lilliputiana is a beautiful Laelia. I picked one up here actually at the show. I'm not going to name drop all the plants I bought because I'm going to do a haul in my What's in Bloom Orchid Collection update from this show. But look at Laelia harpophylla, beautiful amethysta glossa. And there's a labiata cerulea, so if you want to get a labiata cerulea, you'll see mine in bloom in this upcoming What's in Bloom also. But what gorgeous stuff. Sophronitis brevipediculata. These are really, really nice. And he even has one back here that's in bud. Look at that. So you can get a brevipediculata that'll flower in the next few weeks for you. Look at this. Oh my gosh, Maxillaria shonkiana. Look at this. Laelia lobata. Cerulean. Maria Christina. That is a unique flower. Now I love my Cattlea walkerianas. Here's a semi-alba walkeriana and Cattlea walkeriana trilobello calimon. Look at that. That is such a unique Cattlea walkeriana. Here's Encyclia fowlii. And here's Certipodium St. Nigerarium, similar to punctatum, which grows native here in Florida. Beautiful Schilleriana, Violacea, and even we have Cattlea nobilar, Rio de Cerrado, semi-alba Violacea, and then this is amazing, a Peloric Cattlea Schilleriana. Holy cow. I do have one of these in my collection that I picked up from Miranda Orchids, and they are beautiful. And if you're looking for a Cattlea Schilleriana cerulea, he's got them in bud. So you can buy these right now in bud. Of course, Laelia purpurata and Amethysta glossa cerulea, beautiful bare root specimens. And now we're getting over to some of my favorites. Such unique stuff. Cattlea Forbesii aurea, Leopoldii, cerulea. And look at these flowers. Look at these plants. You're getting a well-established plant. Miranda Orchids based right outside Orlando, Florida. So you're going to get plants that are very well established, grown here in the States, and acclimated, which is very helpful. But look at this semi-alba Schilleriana, and then Cattlea labiata, Amigiana, and Laelia purpurata, Werkauseri. Beautiful stuff. Oh my gosh. Now, over here, this is where you can find my rupiculus Laelias and some other orchids native to Brazil. Ridiculous Laelias, wonderful orchids, Laelia terreticalis and Munchawiana. These are beautiful, and these plants are wonderful. So you're probably wondering, how do I grow Rupiculus Laelias? They have a reputation for being a little tricky. Well, there's only a few considerations you have to keep in mind when you're growing these. One, they like a dry, cool winter rest. So don't water them as much. With my Rupiculus Laelias, which I've had success blooming, these orchids need, I just mist them every 3-4 days, sometimes a week. They really get neglected on water. I just mist them, quick mist. That's it, not a drenching or a soaking like typical Cattleyas. And my temps get down to the mid to low 50s, sometimes high 50s, but in the 50s nonetheless in the winter, and that stimulates that blooming. When the summertime hits, so around April, I tend to water them just like a regular Cattleya. Once a week watering, where they get a good drenching once a week, fertilized normally, like I grow all my other Cattleyas. And the last thing that I do in the winter is I give them extra light. Light that nearly burns most Cattleya, regular standard Cattleyas. That is what I will I will grow these guys in, much brighter light. So, but look at this, dozens of Laelias, Reginae, Crispata, Topazianum, Galani. Beautiful, bearer specimens right from Brazil, offered here at the show, the NCOS Orchid Show. So, that is what's for sale from Miranda Orchids. Here we have my buddies at Taida Orchids, fantastic growers from New York and New Jersey, and they have beautiful plants for sale here at the NCOS show. Let's start over here with some of these amazing Oncidium hybrids that they brought. A full booth. My gosh, they have so many orchids available here. What a great, great variety of plants. And these are not Oncidiums. I forget the name, but what a beautiful plant that is. Holy cow. Wow. These are really, really pretty. Wow. And like I said, if you're just starting out your collection, or you have an affinity for Oncidiums, Phalaenopsis, Asian Cymbidiums like Encephalum, Taida is a phenomenal, phenomenal grower. I've stopped by their nursery a few times, created several videos to highlight their grow space, but these are really wonderful orchids that you can grow in the home. They're more compact Cymbidiums. They have wonderful variegation, and the blooms are gorgeous, and they have a couple here in bloom. And check out this guy. This honeybee has pollen on its back that I got from one of these. So look at this, you're witnessing a pollination. They love these flowers. You can see the pollen on the back of the honeybee. Such a cool thing. You can see here, look at all these flowers. See, now the honeybee is following me. He doesn't want me to take his pollen. But wow, look at these flowers. These are some beautiful orchids. Here's another compact Cymbidium. Look at that. Beautiful flower. And like I said, great variety. They have all different types of orchids available here. There's some Miltonia. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Wow. Nobile dendrobiums. Paphiopedilums. Cynoches. Like I said, a variety. Check that out. That is awesome. These are such cool flowers. And this is a beautiful bloom here. This is a Cochleanthes. That's a very pretty flower. And now Taida has a orchid farm where they bring in a lot of these beautiful, beautiful Phalaenopsis that you see all throughout the United States. And they have brought just an absolutely epic selection of flowers to the show. Always new hybrids. They have Poloric blooms. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh. Just incredible. Look at these flowers here. I love my friends at Taida. Here's a wonderful Poloric Phalaenopsis. And they also have novelty Phalaenopsis over here as well. Those collectors, these often have a delicious fragrance. And they have brought variegated leafed Phalaenopsis. Look at this. Oh my gosh. These are really, really pretty. That's beautiful too. Look at that flower. I think I have that one. That's the Zabrina. Really pretty. I have several Phalaenopsis from Taida. They all grow so well in my conditions. I grow some in my tent. I grow some just out in the open air, and they are the best. And look at this. Oh my gosh. How beautiful. We're thrilled to have them at the NCOS show this year. The first year we welcomed them, had them at the show, and we're excited to have them here with all of these amazing, amazing flowers. Wow. All right. And that is my friends at Taida. Now here we have my friends at Mundiflora Orchids, right from Cuenca, Ecuador. So you are getting orchids right from Ecuador, flown here for the show. Amazing, rare species. Look at this. Amazing Dikea. They have so many different varieties here. Just, I've never seen so many different blooms. I'm going to turn my light down in intensity just a little bit so there's less of a glare, but wow. Look at these. Rodrigueziae, Maxillarias. And then they have large orchids here. Oh my gosh, beautiful stuff. Areopsis, Elianthus. Massive, massive epidendrums. Look at this epidendrum, huge epidendrum. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Stellis and Maxillaria. These are some orchids that you do not find often at all. And they even have some that are in bud. So you're going to find plants in bud and bloom here. It's like a treasure hunt to look through all of these beautiful plants. Look at these Restrepias. Range from these large growing Restrepias to compact and tiny growers like Restrepia iris. Here's Eutrophia, Dendrobiums, Myaxoanthus. We have Draculas and Masdevallias, Miltonia Phalaenopsis, which is a wonderful compact growing Miltoniopsis. Oh man, Dendrobium hebeki. Check this out. Here's where I'm going to go crazy. Draculas and Masdevallias. Look at this. Masdevallia deformis. These are super uncommon, hard to find orchids that you do not see very often. Look at this. Dracula, Chiroptera. Wow. Masdevallia, Empusa, Lepanthes. Wow. Look at these Lepanthes. Lepanthes macronata. Lepanthes narcissus. Wow. Asianthera. Nicoliae. These are just so cool. They have such wonderful orchids. Platystelli, epidendrum, scaphoglottis. Like I said, stuff I've never even heard of. Look at this, Lepanthes. Caledictian, known for those iconic leaves. Lepanthes calora. Wow. And the Mundiflora and Pleurophthalus, you will see, are unreal. Wow, look at this. Look at this Masdevallia, Ampullaceae. These are beautiful plants. Beautiful, beautiful orchids. Lepanthes aculeata, Lepanthes vespertillo. Just beautiful. They even have tons of phragmipediums also. Mundiflora. We are thrilled to have them here at our show, at NCOS show this year. So if you're looking for amazing miniature Cattleyas, I mean, holy cow, look at the size of this Masdevallia coccinea, people. This is huge. Look at how many growths. Healthy, spotless leaves. Unbelievable. So that is the booth here for our friends from Ecuador, Mundiflora. All right, and right here we have the infamous Waldor Orchids booth. My friends at Waldor. Let's see what they brought here today. Oh my gosh. These are beautiful. Waldor always brings just gorgeous Cattleyas. If you haven't seen my videos of Waldor Orchids, definitely go and check out the tours that I've done of their nursery, because boy do they have amazing stuff. Look at this Maxima down here, Cattleyas Maxima. I think this is the Highland variety that stays more compact. So not all Maximas are huge, but speaking of amazing blooms, holy cow, these are gorgeous. You might have seen some of these at Waldor's open house that they had just 2 weeks ago. Feel free to check out that video. I've also been able to collaborate with Dave from Waldor on some really awesome videos about orchid care and culture. So how to curate a collection of beautiful Cattleyas just like this, and also a guide to getting your orchids awarded, and also the journey of the seed pod, how Waldor breeds and grows, the life cycle of their plants, these beautiful Cattleyas. So they're really awesome videos. If you haven't watched them, I highly suggest you watch those, because I think they're great for all growers, no matter what your skill level is. If you're a new grower, oh my gosh, hold on a second. That is a plant that is spectacular. Holy cow, look at that. What is that orchid? That is a Cattleya intermedia orlata. Can I zoom in? I can get close. That's beautiful. So this is really, really pretty. Oh my gosh. And check these out. Really pretty flowers from Waldor. All of these Cattleyas, of course, they're known for these spectacular plants. Wow. That is so nice. Waldor Orchids, located in Linwood, New Jersey. Not too far here from DC. So if you ever have a chance to visit, their nursery is as spectacular as their booth is at these shows. It really is worth the visit. Wow. Check that out. What beautiful stuff. Of course, you can get flared Cattleyas orchids like this. Look at that. Those are really, really pretty. They even have dendrochilums. Dendrochilums are beautiful orchids with a very sweet, honey-like fragrance. They're pretty easy to grow too. You can see, look at this overview of Waldor. They're amazing, amazing booth. Now, since I have some space, check out this Oncidium. That is beautiful. Really nice stuff. All right, now I am going to pause and go to the other side of their booth to show you over there. Okay, now I'm over on the other side of Waldor's booth. They have some beautiful Oncidium orchids here, some in spike. Especially these, look at this, Oncidium Sherry Baby in spike. Towering spikes. Delicious chocolatey fragrance on Oncidiums. Even have some zygopetalums, which are gorgeous. Dendrobium. Wow. They have huge plants, so if you are looking for absolute specimen plants, you can find them here at Waldor. They really pulled out all the stops here at the NCOS show. Look at this. These dendrobiums are beautiful, wonderful, and the fragrance over here at Waldor's booth is absolutely delicious. Look at these flowers. Now, I'm not going to be able to show all the names. There are so many blooms that Waldor has brought. And of course, so many blooms to show here at the NCOS show. Look at these Paphiapetalums. Great variety of Paphiapetalums. Really nice. Look at this beauty. Two perfect flowers. These are so wonderful. Wow. These are beautiful. Wow, this is beautiful. You can see they even have some jewel orchids too. $40 for these jewel orchids. Wow. And look at these. And they even have some mini cats too. Check out these mini Cattleyas. You can see great samples of what those blooms look like. And Beth was showing us this. Look at this, the hybrid. That pink plant right here and there is from the same plant. So it shows the amazing, amazing blooms. Oh my gosh, so nice. Wow, look at this. Gorgeous stuff. Val Philippinense. And you can see this beautiful Cattleya being visited by a bee, doing its job as a wonderful pollinator. Wow. Wow. Beautiful stuff from our friends at Waldor Orchids. All right, and right here are my friends at J&L Orchids. They have some beautiful stuff at the show this year. They always have such a phenomenal variety of plants. Look at this, such a cool Dendrobium lawesii. Look at those flowers. One thing I love about fall shows, you get all kinds of different plants. Check out these Bulbophyllums. Wow, Bulbophyllum habrotinum and Bulbophyllum jacobsonii. These are so pretty. J&L always has such a fantastic variety of miniature orchids. Look at these, lots of Schnorchus scalopendria and fragrans. And look at the Arangus punctata. That's exciting. You don't see that very often. Wonderful African orchid species. And I see down here, I'll zoom in, wonderful Shinorchis flowers, Phytamii. There we go, Phytamii. That one was hard. Had a hard time coming out. Beautiful stuff. And here's a Horelia retrocala, which is another wonderful miniature orchid they have in bloom here. So pretty. J&L has a great selection of bulbophyllum. Here's a Gastrocylus japonicus in full bloom right here. This is a sample plant. Fragrant flowers. So nice. Oh my gosh. Here's some Paphiopedilum orchids, of course. And the antelope dendrobiums in bloom here. These are super popular. They grow very, very well. Especially if you grow them outside, they can get huge. So huge. Here's some more African orchids. Arangus citrata, Arangus luteo alba. And these are in spike. You can see the spike on many of these, and that's what the flower will look like. These African orchids are wonderful, wonderful plants. Of course, some dendrobiums here. These are gorgeous white blooms. Dendrobium sanderae. And you can see they have lots more flowers coming. Really, really pretty stuff. Here at J&L, like I said, they have a great variety of miniatures, compact growers that can grow well in the home. In a greenhouse, here's some Dendrobium aureum, the standard variety of aureum. And then here is the aurea. I'm sorry, this is not aureum, this is Dendrobium levifolium. This is the aureum variety right here. And the pink is the standard levifolium. Here's a wonderful bulbophyllum hirundus. I feel like every time I go visit J&L, that bulbophyllum hirundus is in bloom. Here's a wonderful bulbophyllum. Look at all the bulbophyllum flowers here at the show. How cool. And then I wanted to show you over here, Dendrobium hecuense in bloom as well. All right, now over here, you can get a view of this Sigmorchis pusilla, known for these wonderful fan-shaped flowers. And they have plenty in full bloom at the show this year. And here we can get a good view of that Dendrobium hecuense. Check out those cool little flowers, my gosh. Dendrobiums are such odd little plants, but I do love them. Over here we have some unique orchids. Here's a very unique orchid that I don't think I've highlighted on the channel, but check out those blooms. They're very bright orange. Fernandesia maculata. Such cool stuff, oh my gosh. Here's some more Dendrobiums, Dendrobium tenellum, Dixonianum, and here's Dendrobium trinervium, which is in bud. Flower probably any day now. More beautiful miniature orchids down here. Dendrobiums, Oncidium sophronitis, mini Cattleyas. J&L really has a wonderful variety. You're going to see so many different orchids for sale and for the show portion of this event. So you can go into the show, see the blooms, and then come add a couple to your own collection when it's all said and done. Here's an Encyclia Mariae. Check out that flower. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. You guys always have beautiful stuff. Look at this, Macradinia. Encyclias. There's a unique Laelia Adrienne.
Yeah, go.
So
Now's
nice.
a good time.
And here's, look at this, Cochleanthes amazonica. That's a beautiful flower. Wow. Now check this out. What a weird and wild orchid that is. That is so cool. Holy cow. They have like the variety of orchids that they have here. And look at this. This is a Lepanthes. Look at the size of these Lepanthes leaves. This is the Lepanthes rhodophylla. Massive rhodophylla. Blooming so well. I should say growing so well. Not bloom right yet. Now over here we have some of their Masdevallias that they're known for. And Pleurothallus. Here's a wonderful Pleurothallus in bloom. Can you see that? Hopefully. It's a little bit difficult to highlight. Some of these tiny, tiny flowers. Here's Masdevallia Heredure, which is a warmth-tolerant Masdevallia that can grow in warmer conditions. Masdevallia species Webbenii in bloom. They have Masdevallia Cetacea, Tovarensis, Davisii, Poroglossum. So many unique orchid flowers. There's Restrepia antinifera. Great for terrariums. And then, of course, here's some Stellus and more Lepanthes. Lepanthes Lengulata caprimulgus. Huge Trichosalphinx Camellia Phanthes. Look at this. Masdevallia roseola. And here's a wonderful little orchid flower. Look at this. How pretty is that? Wow. And then I have no idea if this is going to pick up, but check out that. Oh, it does. That tiny little flower. Oh my gosh, it's so small. Wow, that is so cool. This is a Platystelli argentosa. Hard to see the name. Now over here we have some more wonderful orchids. Look at these Barbocellas. And those little tiny delicate flowers. Dracula lotax, Crothallis strupifolia, which I love those orchids that have those pendulous flowers. And then over here we have even more Masdevallias in full bloom. Check out these flowers. Wowee. That is a beautiful Masdevallia. They have a Masdevallia coccinea, crestwood, yellow variety of Masdevallia coccinea, and then whoops, there's a wonderful Masdevallia angel heart, which is also a beautiful bloom. And oh yeah, that's a great, I totally missed that flower. Look at this, Maxillaria schunkiana. Thanks Cordelia for pointing that out. Look at that black flower. Oh my gosh, I would have totally missed it. Blended right in. Wow, it's almost got like a dark red-brown complexion, but definitely black. Maxillaria schunkiana. Such a cool flower. Like I said, you really have to spend time looking through J&L's booth because there are so many tiny, delicate blooms that you'd never see if you didn't keep an eye out specifically for them. Of course, over here we have some wonderful oncidiums. Propetellum, which is a zygopetalum by Promenia. Wow. Such great stuff. All right, this is my friends at J&L Orchids. All right, now here are the displays at the NCOS show. And oh my gosh, there are some beautiful plants that folks have grown. Look at this. Brassavola. Wow, all those flowers. The one thing I love about having this fall show this year is you really get to see different orchids than, you know, what we're used to seeing. Because a lot of shows here in the Northeast happen in the winter, as they do in, you know, most parts of America, but it's neat to see all these blooms from what would be considered late summer and fall in the Northeast. But what beauties. This is the Virginia Orchid Society. And boy, did they bring some wonderful little plants. I love to see the artistry that goes in to these orchids. And this is beautiful here. Look at this. Catasetum. I'm going to try to zoom in on the flower if I can. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that frilly lip. Beautiful striped, almost cream colored green type flowers. Really beautiful. Overall, this display is just spectacular. And this Cattley up here is beautiful as well. Look at those blooms. Cattleyas maxima. Peruvian beauty, myself. Here's a wonderful Paphiopedilum. Tony Simple. Definitely has Hinaldianum in its background. And look at these. Oh my gosh. Toniopsis and Dendrobiums. They have such beautiful flowers. At this show this year, I've seen so many deep, dark colored flowers. Now this is a beautiful species, Paphiopedilum. This is Paphiopedilum dianthum. How interesting is that? I love those little curly petals that drape down. And of course, some more beautiful orange, red Cattleyas. And here's another Cattleya maxima. This is Cattleya maximum lust. Great Start is the name of that beautiful orchid. And of course, you gotta love these Schomburgkias towering above this beautiful display from Virginia Orchid Society. What a great job. All right, now let's go over here. Highlight more beautiful plants. These are Stylus colestis. Wonderful blue flowers. Obviously, cerulean in the orchid world is blue, but it might look more purple to some. See, this, to me, is a true purple. That is gorgeous. Cattleya genmanii, species Cattleya. This is the variety rubra. Here's a Cattleya labiata, variety rubra. Nice. And of course, some Vandas. This Vanda has an HCC AOS. Wow. Really, really nice. Somebody is growing incredible Vandas. And look at, they tower above. That's huge. Wow. Here's Cattleya lutamaniana. Beautiful flower. And even this Phalaenopsis here is beautiful as well. Deep maroon, white striping, white veins. That is stunning. Now I've seen these before, Dendrobium innobi purple splash. And no matter where they are, where I see them, they are just absolute showstoppers. But when you get a plant like this with so many flowers, holy cow, how can you not appreciate that? Now, these guys did win a show trophy for most outstanding orchid display. And here's a view of the entire display, and they do have some really nice variety. Beautiful, beautiful plants. Now, some are still in judging. I know which one it is. It's from my friend Jeff Morris, a beautiful Cattlea that they brought for judging. Look at this Catasetum. Catasetum hypatia. And here's a unique flower too. Looks like an oncidium type. I'm not sure what it is. Zell anustum. Really, really pretty. And then of course, wonderful yellow oncidium. Here is Paphiopedilum helenae. Wonderful, cute little plant. Stays super compact. Obviously, this one is growing very well. Lots of growths. Here's Paph henrianum, another species. And then one of my favorites. Look at this Sophronitis, Coccinia Cattlea. Coccinia. Wow, that's a nice flower. And here's a unique little mini. I love my miniature orchids, as you know. Check out those tiny orange flowers. And there's the name. Over here we have another Catasetum in bloom. Catasetum hypatia number 2. And also here's a Psychopsis papilio with 4 flowers. Check that out. That is crazy. I usually see them with just 1 flower, but this plant's beautiful. And then here's an interesting orchid as well, with those braided leaves and delicate yellow flowers. I'm trying to zoom in and show those off if I can. A little difficult. Now over here's a Habenaria rhodochyla. Lots of buds, the beautiful brightly colored orange flowers on this Habenaria species. Here's RLC Sharon King, Volcano Queen. And then lastly up here, Vanda Lada Gold. Really nice. Beautiful plants, my gosh. All right, now over here is the Southeastern Pennsylvania Orchid Society, or SEOS Orchid Society. Wow, check that out. Miltoniopsis, Miltonia bluntii. And look at the flowers, holy cow. That's a huge plant. Here's again that Dendrobium purple splash. So many different orchids in this display. Massive, massive specimens. Here's a wonderful flared Cattlea. That's the Mary's Magic. Look at that Cattlea Mariba Tiger Cerulean. Wow. They have several beautiful orchid blooms here. Look at this display. Just flowers upon flowers. Wow. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to highlight every single bloom. That would be a very long video. Here's Bulbophyllum daisy chain. Tried my best to highlight as much of a variety. Bulbophyllum daisy chain won first place. Huge specimen. Here's a wonderful Paph here. Look at that flower. Now, let's step over here to the side. I'll show you a couple more notable blooms, including this Catasetum hybrid. Wow. And look at that Bratonia sanguinea. That's awesome. That is so awesome. You don't see Bratonias very often in displays around these parts. All right, here is the National Capital Orchid Society display. Of course, the host of this wonderful show, My Home Orchid Society. Wonderful, simplistic design, showcasing each plant, giving it an opportunity to shine through in this display. That's a beautiful blue flower. Wow. Look at that dendrobium up there. That is massive. Holy cow. And we even have some Dendrobium cuthbertsoni down here. Here's a true cuthbertsoni. Always nice to see. And here's cuthbertsoni bicolor. Here's a Cattleyas final blue. Cerulean flower. And of course, I would be remiss not to show this orchid here. Come on, look at this Phragmipedium. Won first place. It did get what looks like a best of blue. That is amazing. This is Phragmipedium ugrandii shenandoah. Wow, look at that plant. That is massive. Wow. All right, now over here is the Lord Fairfax Orchid Society. And you can see they also did a fantastic job putting together their collection. Lots of little minis. Here's a Masdevallia Imposter by Tanzuyai. And they have Lepanthes saltatrix. And look at this Lepanthes calodictyon. What a well-established plant that is. Clearly very happy. That is huge. And then look at this. It is not easy to plan this flower to bloom when you want it. Stanhopea wardii. Check out those flowers. That is really nice. Here's Phragmipedium sundenii. Wonderful pink Phragmipedium. I love those blooms. And then look at this Sologeny. Holy cow, that is humongous. Humongous Sologeny. And now here is a beautiful Rinkenstylus celestis. Wow. Even the keikis are blooming on this. That is really amazing. It's wonderful to see the expertise in growing at these orchid shows. Really, you have any kind of appreciation for orchids, plants in general, a show like this, it'll really, it will inspire you to grow these wonderful plants. Here's a Prostechia cochleata, green hornet, which is a native orchid to Florida. Really nice. And look at this Phragmipedium Sergeant Eric. Massive, massive plant. Wow. Clearly, they've probably been blooming for months. And here's a Toshi Aoki Pizzazz, which is one of my favorites as well. I love those dark maroon flares. And then lots of Paphiopedilums and Miranda Orchids from the growers in this area. Wow, a beautiful display. Such a good job by Lord Fairfax Orchid Society. Now I'm going to step over here and show you some of these Habernarias. you'll be able to see and learn even more about these beautiful plants because I was able to host a tour of this grower's fantastic collection and grow space. And you will be amazed. This is a wonderful display of terrestrial habanerias. Wow, look at this. Really nice. All right, now we'll step over here to see the last display. This is the Maryland Orchid Society, and they definitely brought all the color, and there are some true standouts here. Here's Dendrobium habiki, huge habiki, and Paf Dolls Kabold, wonderful. Paphia petalum. And look at this Phragmipedium. Now that is a unique coloration. I hope that the video can pick up on that color. It's almost like a purple cerulean type color. And I'm going to zoom in because this display is deep. There's a lot of flowers in there, but some notable ones. Look at this. Wow. That is crazy. Wonderful Orangus. We'll go up here and show you this incredible flared Cattlea. RLC Hawaiian Lightning Fiesta. And of course, up top here we have Epidendrum solari, which is one of my favorite epidendrums. I love the flowers. And of course, over here, lots of yellows. Wow. A beautiful, beautiful showing from the Maryland Orchid Society. Look at this, Naomi's Delight. One of my absolute favorite orchids. And they did such a great job showing off all the orchids that could be in bloom this time of year. All right, that is going to conclude my tour of the show tent. All right, everybody, that's going to conclude my tour of the 2025 National Capital Orchid Society Show and Sale at Homestead Gardens in Davidsonville, Maryland. I really appreciate you all watching. I hope you come and check out the show this weekend. If you're viewing this when it goes live, this is your inspiration to come and check it out. It's amazing. So many plants available for sale and to see in bloom. The inspiration for your orchid collection can be found right here. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm Brian from Orchids by Brian, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.